Yes, big day, big day. Just finished, obviously, really kind of midweek through our third week. Couldn't be more excited. I thought our guys probably might have had one of their best practices of the fall camp, to be quite honest. Got a couple guys back, still have a couple guys lingering. Really, it's truly the first guy, the only guy that really probably still won't be with us for that first game could be Matt Bailey. But other than that, we just had some guys, routine camp things pop up. But offensively today, we've kind of put in everything now. Early downs, third downs, normal, red area. We did some situational football today. They really handled it. It was obviously one of the hotter days out there for us as well. We've practiced a lot in the evening, so to get a good temperature game today, a good temperature practice today was pretty clear. We'll go light tomorrow night, and then we'll scrimmage in Memorial on Friday night. We'll have chain crew, running clock. We're going to do our game entrance. We're going to make it as real gets. Our coaches will be in the box. The guys are going to be in the box. The guys that are on the field will be on the field. So a really big day coming up for us on Friday. But with that, open it up.
You talked when you first got the job about raising football IQ and situational awareness and all that. Where do you think that's at in the program, even as obviously you get new guys every year?
Yeah, good question. Twofold, right? So there are literally, of the original 130-man roster that I took over when I came here 3 years ago, there's only 20 players back from that original roster, right, that sat in that first meeting I ever sat in. So as the program has evolved, as the roster has transitioned, one of the challenges we have every year is to remind our guys, or remind ourselves of the guys that haven't had the same knowledge that those guys had. So during fall camp, I did a lot of first-year player meetings the entire first week, where I met individually with those group of new players that went through early down, third down, all the situational football, and then I kind of had a mid-level class, right, guys that are kind of that have returned, have heard it, but maybe haven't heard it 3 times, and then obviously our daily install is the group that everybody hears. So I think we're ahead, but especially with a couple new signal callers, you know, with Luke and John in particular. Those guys haven't really heard football as we say it here at Illinois, so it's been great for them.
11 days in, how are roles being defined in a roster depth chart?
Yeah, so really we had a big scrimmage on Friday. Didn't touch their legs Saturday and Sunday, let them kind of just recover. Had a lot of personnel meetings, and we kind of now on Monday literally started doing some look team stuff. Obviously, our first 4 opponents are all new opponents. We've never played, first Toledo. These guys have never played Toledo. We never played Kansas. We have a rematch game against Penn State, but there's a year in between there, so a lot of new players, new faces, new schemes, and then of course FAU. So we're getting a lot of preseason work on our first opponents, especially Toledo and Kansas, that we've never really done this before. So we started working that a little bit on Monday on the back half of every practice. So that kind of defines your look teams per se, but we still trying to find those top 2 deep in our swing guys at every position. Some positions probably a little more settled. It's pretty easy to say, you know, Johnny and Keith are our best 2 defensive ends, but guys behind them battling out at the nose, it's a good competition. Outside linebacker, 3 guys are really competing at a high level. At the safety and the corner positions, we've got a lot of guys that have played good football, but to get them back in new rules, of course, offensively, I'd say a quarterback, just a really good competition between those top 3 or 4 guys. Been really impressive to watch the growth of them. Wide receiver, we really like Isaiah, Casey, and Pat, what they've done, but the emergence of Hank Beatty is playing at a higher level. Malik Elzy is very impressive for a freshman. Ashton Hollins has made a big jump from a year ago. Sean Miller, right? So some of those guys really jumping out. I'd say a running back, you know, just like we thought coming into it, Josh and Reggie are kind of at a different level, but Caden Fagan is very impressive. Jordan Anderson was out for a couple days, came back fresh legs, and Aiden Lawford took one to the house Friday night. It was pretty impressive to watch. So we're kind of getting a little bit of everything. Excited about the growth.
But just for clarity, Zai's not a guy you think could be limited for long?
No, so Zai literally tweaked his ankle on Monday or Tuesday. They originally told us, you know, probably be a week, but he's telling me he's going to be back tomorrow. He looks good. He's coming back. I would guess if we don't get him back for Friday, really the majority of these guys, if we don't get him for Friday scrimmage, we should have him on Tuesday for practice.
Are you closer on quarterback?
We're closer because we're getting better every day. There's no doubt in my mind since we started through these first 11 practices, our guys are playing better than they ever played. Literally every one of those guys. So I like where we're at. We'll see where we're at Friday after the scrimmage and see where we go.
When will you name somebody? You have an idea?
Same frame that I've always said. When we're ready to name him, we'll name him. I think it's important for us to, have our guys know who that guy is as we get into game prep. But it's really kind of every day brings some highs and lows for everybody, and they're just getting better.
It seems to me, maybe I'm wrong, that you've mentioned Caden maybe a few more times in the last
Beggin?
the last couple of times we've talked. Like, what's his progression been like? through
Well, to be
camp?
honest, Reggie and Josh take the majority of the reps with the ones, and then those other guys have been rotating through with the twos. Jordan, unfortunately, just had a minor soft tissue, so he's out of the rotation 4 or 5 days. So I put the majority of it on Caden and Aiden, and those two guys, kind of local guys, literally half hour each away, right? Like kind of cool, but they're completely different running back styles, and they just complement each other very well. And really, Caden, for being a big back, can really move. So he's been impressive. I've been impressed with him. Sounds funny, right? Like he looks good at running back, but he's left guard on punt. He's a backside guard on kickoff return. Been very impressive in all the special team stuff. Just as he's a very present young man. Like everything he does has got deliberate intentions. He's very detailed in his approach, very mature. I mean, he looks 35, right? And he acts it too.
Casey is just a soft tissue
Casey
issue.
Washington?
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. Again, he'd be one. I don't know if we'll have him for Friday. I think he's optimistic about it, but he practiced yesterday. It was full go, right? Just some of these guys, Tariq Barnes too. Tariq just kind of had a little, really an intercostal strain in his rib cage, like nothing serious. But if we kept him going, it'd probably make him play a little, not at full. And I'd rather, for us, like if Casey Washington doesn't go, then really put a lot of stress on his backup, right? And that's what we really did today. About after period 15, we took all the ones out of it and made our ones twos and our threes twos, right? So, made our twos ones and our threes twos, and it was really good work.
I wanted to ask you, how are you balancing just the physicality of what you need to see in fall camp with having such a late bye week and not wanting to lose guys?
Yeah, so a couple things. Before I set up the schedule, just on the number of days, like practicing in the evening was a big part of it. And even in midweek here for 2 weeks in a row, we've gone mornings, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, we go afternoons and we let them sleep in. So one of the things I did during the out of season, literally from the time we got done with our bowl game to where about a month out, I literally talked from coaches from SEC, ACC, the West Coast, and really talked to coaches that I respect about how they're getting players, in these limited camp schedules to be fresh, right, and be engaged. And I'm an early morning guy, right, so I kind of make everybody else do that because I think it just kind of get up there and do our work. But one thing I did realize, right, like the more we can let these guys sleep, the better they perform. Young kids aren't going to go to bed before 10. They're definitely not going before 10. They might go at 11. You're lucky getting to bed. Not that they're doing anything bad. I think they're just up, right? They watch late night TV. They watch movies. They watch Netflix. Play video games. So if they're going to bed at midnight and I'm getting up at 5:30, they're getting 5:30, right? So we've now in the last 2 weeks on Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, we don't bring them in the building until close to 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and it just allows them to get more recovery.
Coach, your ticket giveaway, you and your wife were doing.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, how's it work, and how many people are expressed interest?
Well, so Jen and I had, when we got hit with the Family First campaign, I kind of said this would be kind of neat for us to give back to the community, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive. Obviously, the ticket sales has been through the roof, and then Josh and his crew have been putting out the statistics on that. To have over 10,000 new ticket sales is just season ticket sales, not just tickets, like season tickets, right? So that's like a huge opportunity for not just us in the football program, but Department of Athletics in the community. I can't tell you how many times, whether dropping the girls off for school or picking them up, somebody says something about that in particular. So it's been very positive, but just another good outreach. And the one thing that's been awesome for us, just the way the community involves us, and it's been very positive. But we haven't lost a game yet. We're undefeated, so
Right,
everybody's real happy.
a lot of interest in getting those, right? I assume you've heard from all sorts of
Yeah, really at the end of this week, I'm going to get a report, kind of just where it's going and what they're doing, because that first game is going to be on us sooner than later. So I'm getting a lot of outside help for us in that regards on where it's going and what it's doing.
I know you said at media day, like this is as good as you felt quarterback-wise since you've been here. Do you have similar feelings wide receiver-wise? Like, is there a similarity there?
Yeah, I would say, in the wide receiver room from where we started, day zero, walking in this building, but it's interesting, right? Because, Pat was part of that class before I got here. He's an incredibly talented player, very gifted. He's been here 2 years, played 2 years. Literally, when I meet with NFL scouts, he's a guy that I say, listen, I think he's going to come back, but if he had a big year, this would be someone that, by rule, is NFL eligible, right? Obviously, the Isaiah transition, he's playing the best football he's ever played. I think he was a good player a year ago. I think he's playing at an exceptionally high level, super intelligent. But the best thing about Isaiah, just his approach, his demeanor. He spoke in front of the team last night. Him and Tip and Kaneno Olaga did a mission in Africa this summer, and I think it really touched their soul, their heart in a variety of different ways. And I had them talk about that last night to the team, and Isaiah spoke at the end, kind of wrapped it all up, and just the way he communicated what he learned to his teammates, it shows the value that he's added as far beyond just football. And then, of course, Casey I already talked about, but now, like, Ashton Hounds looks incredibly different. Sean Miller, Malik Elsey's a very talented player. You got Hank Beatty in there that's doing things. So by far, I think the top 8 receivers that we have are at a different level we've had.
With Matthew Bailey out, who are some of the names to know at safety?
You know, without a doubt, Miles Scott's had a really good camp. Is very versatile, very, very athletic, very rangy. You know, he's jumped out to our coaches, you know, and it was interesting. One of the early feedbacks I got from Jimmy when he was here, Jimmy Leonard, was like he keys that position. He played it, right? And he just talked about, you know, the 10 jumps out, right? Like a guy that has limited reps, but really good active player. I would say that Nicario Harper, for sure, Demetrius Hill, Clayton Bush, in my opinion, I would, you know, you always get guys and you're like, if I had that kid for 2 or 3 years, we'd be talking about a high draft pick. I think he's like very, very talented, very athletic, gets it, understands it, grasps it. Demetrius Hill, what he's done through these first, these first dozen practices has been very impressive. Gets it, understands it. He plays a little attitude. And then Nicario Harper made a read and break today that was as good as I've seen him do.
Are there different things you're looking for in the scrimmage on Friday?
Is there what?
Different things you're looking for? Like how important is that?
Well, I want to handle the game environment, right? We're going to really make it as real gets. It'll be in that regard as far as communicating with the coaches. You know, I got 5 new coaches and 5 new roles. So to have them in their respective spots up in the press box, on the sideline, I'm looking for that growth and subbing in and out, right? We're going to have Big Ten officials that'll work sub in the game, in and out, the flow of the game. I want to play Illinois football. I want to be tough, smart, dependable. I want us to be able to possess the football, be successful on early downs offensively, take advantage of third down opportunities, take early down shots. I want to be great in the red area. Be very solid in the kicking game. I think it's very, very clear. We got a great competition going on right now at kicker, punter, and kickoffs. Defensively, obviously the standard's been set. We know that we've done a lot of really good things a year ago, but there's not one tackle, interception, or fourth down stop that's going to carry over to this year. But a lot of that does, and now we got to get some of those guys. I think, a guy like Alec Bryant, Seth Coleman, and Gabe Ackus, guys that were good players a year ago, we're needing them to take a big step. Tariq Barnes, Dylan Rosiak, Kanana Otalaga, and now you throw James in there, right? James as well, James Kreutz, and then in the back end, it's really just a lot of young faces showing up and making plays. So I just want to continue what we've been doing, come out of it pretty healthy, and see where the weekend takes us.